Hi class! So this is the last part of our lesson on cell structure. We're just going to finish up discussing eukaryotic cells. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention the mitochondrion while teaching you about cells. So the mitochondrion is a very important organelle. It is the site of a process called cellular respiration, which is a set of chemical reactions that transfer energy from food molecules to ATP molecules. You'll learn more about this later. Let's just say for now that it is how your cells are able to harness the energy from food. And mitochondria are present in all eukaryotic cells. So in you, in animals, plants, fungi, in algae, all eukaryotic cells have these. Not all eukaryotic cells have the chloroplast. So the chloroplast is an organelle present in plant cells and algae. It is the site of photosynthesis, which is a set of chemical reactions that convert solar energy into chemical energy held in carbohydrates. So this is how plants are able to make food. And you can see this image of a whole bunch of plant cells, and you can see all those little green circles. Those are chloroplasts. So these cells are just packed full of chloroplasts. Now later, we will learn more about these specialized structures that make up both chloroplasts and mitochondria. For now, I just want you to have a rough idea of what they do. We also have a cellular structure, which is not really considered an organelle, called the cytoskeleton. So the cytoskeleton is a set of protein fibers that serve a variety of functions, including supporting cell shape and transporting materials throughout the cell. There's 3 different types of cytoskeletal fibers. I will only mention one of them right now, and those are microtubules. So microtubules have a role, they're kind of like the highway system in a cell. So before I had mentioned that vesicles have the job of transporting proteins and lipids throughout the cell. So they move from the ER to the Golgi and from the Golgi to other destinations. But how do they move? Well, there's this really cool protein called a motor protein. So the vesicle is shown here attached to the motor protein, and then the motor protein literally walks along the microtubule carrying the vesicle. I highly recommend this video that you can find on YouTube called Inner Life of a Cell that will show you a really cool computer-generated animation of a motor protein. So this is the motor protein, that big thing is the vesicle, and the motor protein is walking along the microtubule. How cool is that? So those microtubules, as well as other cytoskeletal elements, form these fibers that extend throughout the cell. So here in this microscope image, the green threads are the cytoskeleton. But microtubules can also be found outside of the cell in specialized structures called flagella and cilia. So here's a microscope image of a cell that has these 2 flagella sticking out. They're these tail-like structures that help the cell swim. And the image above are cilia. They're kind of like flagella, but shorter. And they can also perform this beating motion. And some cells use them to swim. You have cilia on the internal inside your respiratory tract lining those cells, and they help to sweep dust upwards so that you can cough it out. So these eukaryotic flagella and cilia are made up of microtubules. Microtubules also help to create structure called the centriole. So this is the centriole. All those little, what look like little pipes are the microtubules that are arranged in this special way. So the centrioles are found just in animal cells, and they're found close to the nucleus, and microtubules can grow out of this region. So the centrioles are kind of like a microtubule organizing center. When a cell is about to divide, these centrioles duplicate. So in this picture, you can see 2 sets of these duplicated centrioles, and there's microtubules extending between them, and they help to pull chromosomes apart during the process of cell division. Now, The region that the centrioles are found in has this specialized name called a centrosome. So the area around the centriole, that is the centrosome. So it's not a structure you can see, it's just the region. Plant cells do have centrosomes that help them organize microtubule growth, but they do not have the centrioles. So centrioles are unique to animal cells. So the last cellular structure that we'll discuss is the cell wall. The cell wall is not present in all cells. Those that do have it, it is found outside of the plasma membrane. So in this image, the yellow represents the plasma membrane that surrounds the cytoplasm. And then the cell wall is this thicker layer found right outside of the plasma membrane. Cell wall can provide structure to cells and make them more rigid. Plants have cell walls, and their cell walls are made up of a type of carbohydrate called cellulose, whose structure does give them that rigidity. That's how, for example, trees can grow to a really tall height and not fall over. They don't have a skeleton like you do, but they have this rigid cell wall. So animals do not have cell walls, but fungi do, and some single-celled eukaryotes also have cell walls. So I've been mentioning certain organelles as being specific to certain types of cells. This diagram summarizes some of the differences among animal cells, plant cells, and fungi. It is not extensive. I would more recommend going to your textbook, but I just wanted to give you a quick idea. So there are a variety of structures that are in all eukaryotic cells. So for example, the nucleus, the cytoplasm, the plasma membrane, and mitochondria are present in all cells, all eukaryotic cells, as well as the ER and the Golgi. But here this points out that the cell wall is made up of cellulose, is unique to plant cells, not in animal cells. Plant cells also have that central vacuole, and they have chloroplasts. Fungi do have a cell wall, but it's made up of chitin, not cellulose. They do not have chloroplasts. They do have a bigger vacuole. At surface, it might seem that fungi are more similar to plants, but evolutionarily, they're actually more closely related to animals. But that's something you can learn more about later. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you next time.